Keiko Agena, and you're listening to You Might Know Her From with Anne and Damian.
Hey, welcome back to You Might Know Her From
with Anne and Damian.
That was a different line reading than normal.
I know. It was very, like, you had your eyes closed when you said it. And I feel like you were like Casey Kasem-y.
I'll tell you, one time I was doing this show Brunch with Tiffany that I used to work on in my old job with Tiffany New York Pollard.
The great.
And one time we had to do like line readings where she was like, hey, do you want more Brunch with Tiffany? Like, subscribe to the VH1 YouTube channel or whatever, just like different liners. And I think we had them all written for her. They weren't on a prompter, but I remember her closing her eyes and I could see, and she was like reading them in her brain so that she could then do them. And I think it somehow like inspired me the idea that if it's like when I have a bite and I want to savor the bite, and it helps me to read our credits, or sometimes to like close my eyes and actually just focus on like the script that I know is in my bones.
The sensory deprivation brings you like closer to the sound of what you're trying to deliver. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I really want to do a sensory deprivation.
But I'm also scared of what thoughts
yeah.
will pop out. I feel less scared now. I feel like I've gone through a lot of work of myself in the last like 12 years.
That's why I have never taken a psychedelic. I don't trust my own brain.
Yeah, they say you shouldn't do it if there's a potential you have mental illness. It's like, who doesn't? Show me that person. So speaking of mental illness, I have been doing this thing where I will like take a gummy and listen to music from my college years, I'll say, like basically like end of high school through like a little bit out of college. And I forget every once in a while that I used to love like bands, because I think nowadays I still listen to like a lot of pop. I listen to a decent amount of R&B. I still listen to like 90s R&B girl groups, like the American Songbook, etc. Even like Fleetwood Mac and everything else adjacent to that, like what I would call oldies, classic rock, etc. But I don't listen to like indie bands or alternative bands the way I was very obsessed with like Belle and Sebastian and Rilo Kiley and Mates of State and all of these, and Camera Obscura and like the Diddy Bops and the Bird and the Bee. And I would like go see these people in concert, the new Pornographers. Anyway, I've been talking to our friend Clinton. I'm going to go see both the new Pornographers and Belle and Sebastian with him in this spring. And I was like, I don't have anyone in my life besides Clinton who listens to this music anymore. And so then I was like, well, I wonder, I probably have told you this before, like 10 years ago, but I was reminded in doing all of this old school listening that Tilly and the Wall, do you know them?
No, I don't know them.
They are. I think they got back together in 2020, but I don't know that they're like still putting out active music. But they were like a Midwestern folky indie band.
Yeah.
I'm going to say drummer is a tap dancer. Jamie Presnell the percussion of the band is all her tapping.
Wait, what's the last name?
Presnell.
Presnell.
N-A-L-L, I think.
Okay, I'm just wondering
if she's married to somebody else in the band.
I'm wondering if she is the daughter of Harv Presnell, the original Daddy Warbucks. I'm so sorry.
What if
she's a tap dancer, there's a good chance.
Interesting.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead. I don't know
have I ever shared this information with Anne? And I was like, we need to interview her because we love. I mean, I don't know. Is that drumming? If you're the percussion of a band and you're a tap dancer, are you the drummer?
Yeah, she's percussionist, right? She's the percussionist. She is keeping
That's so cool,
time.
Right?
So all of the music in this group has percussion that is tap.
Based on what I know, which is I'm not an expert on them, but I listened to one of their albums obsessively, like in 2004 or something. And I was revisiting it and I was like, let's start tapping.
That's so cool. Do you think that person, she probably has some musical theater in her bones, even if she's not Harv Presnell's daughter?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to look her up.
Yeah, Jamie Presnell, come on the show. Do you guys like when we interview like not actors on the Patreon? That's something we've been experimenting with because, that we're trying to make our intro outros tighter here so that we can really focus the meat on our actors. But on the Patreon, we're interviewing friends of the show, artists that we are impressed with, like tap dancer Jamie Presnell.
Yeah.
So yeah, are you guys picking up that vibe? It's just like a different place to explore different things that exist in our Venn diagram, which of course includes girl groups and female drummers.
Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, if you're a longtime listener, welcome back. And if you're new, obviously we shoot the shit with each other and interview an actress each episode. So if that's why you're here, you've entered the the part of the show where we are getting to this week's actress, which is none other than Keiko Agena. And I have to say, if you're listening to the show, you probably know her from the Gilmore Girls, maybe from some other things. But I feel like we went so deep with Keiko in ways that were totally not anticipated from my perspective. And I don't mean like I was crying at the end of it. I just mean like sometimes things hit you differently. Sometimes you talk to an actor who's a real artist who has her hands on lots of things. And I feel like that's exactly how Keiko is. She is true blue, so fun, really communicative. I just have to say, sometimes, we're going through publicists and it gets very difficult. And I have to say, Keiko, one of the easiest, friendliest, most charming people that we've talked to. We hope you enjoy this week's episode.
You might know her from Gilmore Girls,
Better Call Saul,
Prodigal Son,
The First,
Hair Show,
Transformers, Dark of the Moon,
and 13 Reasons Why. Huge day, exciting day, because we are back here on You Might Know Her From with actor Keiko Agena. Keiko, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here. We're doing it.
We're doing it. And we're so happy to have you. And listen, our listeners may best know you for your role as Rory's best friend, Lane Kim, on the Gilmore Girls, of course. And we will get to all of that. And I have to say, we have a lot, so I'm sorry about that. But we wanted to talk about the swath of women you've played in your career and on television. So in addition to Lane, you've played Viola, Kim's paralegal on Better Call Saul. You were a Washington Post reporter on the Shonda Rhimes series The Residents. You're one of Connie Britton's pals on Dear John. You're a cool social worker on Shameless. You're Yori on the Disney Channel's Kim Possible, and a doctor who can speak where-but on the DC Universe series Doom Patrol. Keiko, which of those recurring gigs was your favorite?
Oh, that's fun. It might be something that you hadn't mentioned.
Yeah.
There's a show that I was on called Prodigal Son, where I get to play a medical examiner. I think maybe recently that's probably been the most fun that I've had on set. I really love those guys, and we got to film it in New York. And it was, even though the second season was during the pandemic, it was just a super fun cast to be a part of.
I want to talk about that because you play Dr. Idrissa Tanaka, who is essentially a coroner, right? Like she's looking at dead bodies all day. So this was 2 seasons, like you said, on Fox. So you deal with a bunch of gnarly stuff. So can you talk about the bodily secretions, the bones, the head wounds, the blood? Did you do background on medical examiners so that you could be hip to the lingo and also toughen your stomach? Or were you ready to roll with that?
I didn't do any of that because I really don't like any of that stuff. But I think what's fun about my job is as long as I bring the feeling towards the specifics, then the writing and the specifics matching with my obsessive feeling creates the character in the minds of the people that are watching it. So I think actually it was an easy role to play because I was just because I am obsessed with acting and I was on set. So it's just my love and obsession and overanalyzing of acting beats and acting moments that comes through and then just gets translated into whatever medical jargon that Idris is.
Were you beating out all of those scripts with all of that crazy dialogue while you had your hand in a head wound?
Yeah, it was definitely a fun world to play in. I think one of my favorite things is that prosthetic head that they had. It was very realistic, and I got a photo of it where I'm just holding up this head, and it looks like a real person's face. The prosthetic work was on that show was so good.
So cool.
I feel like you've gotten a chance to do a decent amount of special effects and weird things, like the wear butts, and then you were on Grimm, and you're was it your husband turned into a monster?
Yeah, we both did, and it's such a shameful feeling about that because I think. And I don't know what year this was, and I should have known better, but I didn't. I think I posted some pictures about that before the episode. You clearly should not. And I think
you went against your NDA.
I was like, did I just reveal that I was that character? It's supposed to be something in the show that is found out. It's not something you know from the beginning. I was like, I think I did.
Yeah, we love we love practical effects. So I feel like it's fun to get to see shows that like actually use real things as opposed to CGI.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay, so you starred in this sort of like famously one and done Apple TV series, the first, which was notably Sean Penn's like first foray into television work. You play an astronaut preparing to go on a mission to Mars, knowing that the first mission ended in like a deep tragedy. There was so much hype around the show, and it looked really expensive with a great cast, including former guest of this show, Lisa Gay Hamilton, who we love.
Oh,
was that sort of like a roller coaster of experience in terms of like riding the hype machine? I sort of assumed it would naturally get a second season because of its pedigree and budget and Sean Penn-ness.
I was heartbroken. Before Prodigal Son, that certainly was my favorite set to be on. We got to shoot that in New Orleans, and I love those people. I mean, and it was beautiful, and I loved being in the harness and being in space. Just for the few seconds that we got to film those kind of sequences. But the attention to detail was really high. There were a lot of craftspeople on that show. And I don't know how much our spacesuits cost, but it might have been close to, several tens of thousands of dollars for each flight suit that we were wearing.
Oh my God.
God. Yeah, they really did it well.
Yeah, I know. It's a shame. When I went back and watched it, I feel like it was sort of right before Apple TV had sort of exploded in the way. Also, they undermarket their shows, which is a problem. It's like they have so much good programming, but they don't advertise it. But anyway, it is a good watch if you go back and watch it. It's like a very good character study of all of these really great actors. And you would think it's like this big action piece, but really it's like a character drama, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, I think that was the misunderstanding with that show, is that because it's about a mission to Mars, I think the expectation was that you would get a lot more space in it, and it was a lot more politics. It was really a political show about what it takes to run a space program. And because that didn't match up with, I think, the expectation that people have or had for that, I think that was a big challenge of the show.
Yeah, and I think that if it was maybe launched now, it would have a bigger audience, I think, that it maybe had in that era.
It would take more time for people to kind of get in, because the second season, I think, would have been really exciting because, we would be on our way. And I think that it would have been a very, sort of a much more realistic journey of what that is like, it would be like. And I love Bo Willimon, who was the showrunner on that show, is like the sweetest guy. He's very artistic also. He paints. He was always so welcoming to me. And, we changed the name of the character to have it be, I think originally it was a Chinese character, and we made her have a different last name.
Yeah.
I felt like I had a lot of agency in that show.
I'm sorry that it didn't last longer. I really do feel like I kind of want to follow this. It's hard when you go back and watch something. You're like, there's only one season. But yeah, you were great in it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We got to watch it on the big screen once because we had like a premiere or something. And that, because, it's for television, but they shot it so well that when you saw it on a huge screen, it still did.
It was like cinematic.
Yeah, it's pretty cinematic.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. We're putting this like laundry list of credits together of yours to open with. And we were thinking like so many of these characters are high functioning, highly intelligent women. And we've talked to several women over the course of doing this show about how like women of color are often cast in these like authoritative roles, like judges and doctors and scientists and lawyers and coroners and astronauts and oftentimes lesbians. Do you ever have the desire to play someone who has a low IQ?
Oh, that's funny. No, I think I certainly do that a lot in improv. But I think there's something about me that loves having all of those quick retorts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wish I had a writer in my back pocket that could write all the things that I want to say in the moment. So for me, maybe it's a little bit of a fantasy that I get to live out these characters that are so quick.
Right.
And sharp.
I'm so glad that you mentioned your love of improv because that's where we're going. So you talk about this extensively, that you've performed it regularly like throughout your adult career, and you've incorporated it into your work as like an artist workbook that you created and published called No Mistakes by Random House. Mm-hmm. And you're also a producer for Asian AF, the hit Asian American comedy series. It's like a variety hour. So we sort of come from that same background. We were interested, like, what was it about improv that struck a chord with you? Like, what was the thing where you're like, ooh, this is the thing?
I think people who really know and love improv, it's hard to explain the love that we have. Are you guys, I'm assuming, also are in this camp?
Like
or no, you hate it now.
You know?
You loved it before. What am I doing? Well,
no, we both started at like UCB
okay.
here in New York, and
Okay.
we were both like big fans of that universe. And yeah, I feel like that was our entry point.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, for me, I took my first class in 2006 or something, and I've definitely had in and out like a love-hate obsessive relationship with improv. But I think the reason why I keep coming back to it is that, as strange as it sounds, when it's done well, to me, it is the most beautiful art form because there is a level of trust and buoyancy and creativity that you can create with improv that you don't get a chance to experience in any other form, to me. And even, a film or television, it's different. And it's hard to do. It's hard to have a successful show. It's hard to have a successful moment. And now, at this point, after being with it for so long, I can appreciate the reach. I think I was too hard on it when I was starting out. Like, I tried to be so perfect, or I was so critical of other people when they failed. But now I see all of the reach, and I say, you know what? I get it. I know what you're going for. I know it was hard. You didn't get there, but you really reached. And I really reach every time I go. And that makes me, that makes me just be able to live in the joy of it and not be in a critical headspace.
I really love that. I feel like I haven't done improv like in a real way in like 12 years, but as you're talking, I was like, it is true. Like, when I felt good doing it, I felt great. I think towards the end of my tenure doing it, I didn't feel supported. I felt like I was really critical, but I also felt like everyone was really like critical and competitive. And I think it was just the culture and environment of where I was at, and like feeling like it was very male, straight dominated. So like my go-to bit has always been like, I like did a Shelley Long joke in like in a class show, and I was like, oh, I am not supported here. But
Right.
I love what you're saying about like that reach, because I feel like it is, I don't know, there's just something so beautiful about like seeing good improv scene work that is like rooted in the performers really just trusting each other and like trusting where it's going to go.
But don't you feel like what you guys do is sort of an environment that you've created where it's someone that you trust, you know that you each have each other's backs, and you know what it is that you're trying to create that you love to perform in front of?
Yeah, we actually just are like kind of on the heels of our first live recording that we did like a live show in New York. And we had that as like a pep talk with each other. And I referenced that Shelley Long joke and was like, I feel safe on stage with you because like you will like have my back. But I remember feeling like that I got your back, you're at your back. And then it would be like, oh, this person is like the star of the show and everybody else, like no one has anyone's back,
Right.
But I do feel that way in this dynamic. So thank you for saying that.
Yeah, absolutely. Was it fun? Was the show fun to do?
It was so fun.
Yeah, it was. And we're hoping to like, bring it to other cities and do it out in LA. And so I think that's ultimately the goal. But yeah, do you have any improvisers that you really like looked up to, or like will you say like where you took classes? Because you were still doing, like, you were a famous film, like a TV actor at that point. So you just like went and took classes?
Yeah, I love
it.
I have always taken class, even because I took my first class. I mean, and maybe Gilmore Girls was still on, but it was like 2006, 2007. So yeah, but I was still like taking a 101 class, and I've taken classes at Groundlings and UCB and IO West and with Dave Rosowski. And now right now I'm at Outside In, which is a place where it's sort of my home base. But yeah, I mean, I was a series regular on Prodigal Son and still walking into UCB New York, just with everybody taking a class.
That's incredible.
I love it. I think the best thing that improv has given me is an understanding of what failure is. Just constant failure. And then you're like, oh yeah, this is what it feels like. You're like, okay, this is what it feels like. And you get comfortable with it. Okay. and then because the thing is, like, because I think someone else had asked me what it's given me. And I think when you're on set, a lot of times there's very little rehearsal. So if you want to have a chance of creating a good performance, you have to be willing to basically rehearse in front of people. So you have to be willing to be seen, obviously trying something that might not work. And you can't save it because there's no time to prep before the crew comes in and is watching you do stuff. So it's a willingness to look ugly and the willingness to look bad.
I really love this connection that you've drawn. I don't think anybody we've ever spoken to has said that about what it is, especially since you said it's so fast on film and TV. Like you have to fail. You have to be willing to fail in front of others and be okay with that. And I think that is really difficult. That I can imagine it's really difficult.
Yeah. But it gets easier over time, actually. I mean, I'm in sort of this like spiritual journey right now about, I have this thing that I say, like all battles are internal battles. Where I feel like the biggest demon thing is like internal, that critical voice. And I think once you kind of get a handle on that, that's always going to be the hardest fight. Everything else is gravy. It's that internal voice that you have to kind of come to terms with.
Yeah,
you're preaching to the choir.
Yeah,
this is helpful.
I love it. I think it's helpful.
You.
Yeah, you're motivating us. Okay, so Keiko, I loved hearing about how your audition for the Oscar-nominated Transformers Dark of the Moon was all improv. You, in this film that you landed the role, you acted opposite Oscar winner Frances McDormand, Shia LaBeouf, Transformers, quote unquote, and then also real astronaut Buzz Aldrin, all while being directed by Michael Bay. That is a lot of personality in one movie. Can you please tell us anything, everything about that audition, the film, the vibes on the set, whatever you got?
Oh, it was fantastic. It was fantastic. It was because, part of that is, I don't know if you're laughing because it's sarcastic. But it
No,
was.
I'm into it. I watched it last night. I'm fresh in it. And I was like, wow.
You watched it? You did a lot of prep for this interview, guys.
This is what we do. This is what we do.
Oh, wow. Dang.
I hope you got a residual.
I did actually. I was kind of, to be honest with you, I was kind of surprised. I was like, because I'm not in it that much. And I was like, dang, no wonder people do movies. I was like, actually, this is a little chunk of change for this movie. Shit. But the best part of it, though, was because Frances McDormand is fucking nice. And she kind of took me under her wing, and just to be around her, just to follow her around for 2 weeks is such a lesson. And I'll just say, like, there are other cute things, but there was one cute moment that I remember where, we're shooting, blah, blah, blah. And Frances McDormand goes up to Michael Bay and says, can I talk to you for a moment? Can we take a walk? And Michael Bay, he's like, eh. And they walk off. And Shia LaBeouf looks around and says, has that ever happened? When have we ever been able to do that? And that was her. She just has a kind of energy to her, and to be around that and to just be a fly on the wall when she and John Turturro would talk because they know each other very well. Come on. Lovely to just be in their presence. I'll tell one. Can I tell one other story about that?
Please. Yeah.
So, and I think I told this at a UCB show once, but I have another funny Frances McDormand story, or at least funny to me. Might not be funny to other people, but we were shooting at NASA and she wanted to go to the gift shop. So I was like, I'll come to the gift shop. So we go to the gift shop, and on the way back, it's just the two of us in the van. And we're driving, from the gift shop back to the set area. And she sees, oh, let's stop. She's telling the van driver, let's stop. I see one of the prop cars. I want to take a picture. On the prop car, it was this yellow Corvette that had a Transformers little, so it was like a Bumblebee type prop car. And so we get out, and she was like, take a picture of me. So she's on the hood of the car, taking pictures. I'm standing next to her. We get the guy out of the van. He's taking pictures. And then the security guard comes by and says, what are you doing? And she says, we're just taking pictures on the prop car. And he says, this is not a prop car. This is someone's personal car. We're like, no, first I was like, what are you talking about? This is Frances. Do you know who you're talking to? Yes, this is the are you aware of Transformers? This has a Transformers logo on the side of the clearly Bumblebee car. And he's like, you can't be doing that here. So we kind of get off into the car, and then it slowly dawns on us, oh, that's someone's personal car. This is not. Around that time, because of the hype of Transformers, they had these little insignias that they would put, metal insignias that they would put on Corvettes. Yellow Corvettes that were kind of a hint towards Transformers. So we were just on someone's personal car.
That is cool.
I have those pictures and we were like, ooh, oops, we were wrong. We were giving this poor security guard so much attitude.
Incredible.
That person should be so lucky, though. Be like, look at Keiko and Frances on my car.
I know, right? I'm sure whoever that person was, and they must have been a fan, right?
For sure.
Transformers are the ones who wouldn't have gotten that card. So, whoever that person is, I have those photos. So just get in contact with me and I'll show you pictures of us on your car. Anyway.
You've said that you improvised lines on another film that was with Oscar winners and nominees, Mo'Nique and Taraji P. Henson, the 2004 comedy Hair Show. Okay, for those who haven't seen it, I did watch it this week. You played June Nee, the only Asian woman working in an otherwise all-black salon, and Taraji is teasing you because your character is wearing cornrows. She says, if you don't have a brother on your arm, you wouldn't have cornrows, and you clap back with brother on my arm, no brother on your arm. The internet has a lot of affection for this line. I'm not sure if you're aware. Was it improvised, and do people say it to you on the street in ways that are odd?
No, but I have seen these pop up of the cornrow incident. And I will say that it's that line, that particular line wasn't well, there are parts of that scene that is improvised. That particular line isn't improvised, but it's the reason why I kind of wanted to do this part, because I was a little unsure about this part, but that line was just so juicy when I saw it, when I read the script. I was like, okay, I gotta at least try. It's too fun.
Yeah.
But on the day they wanted to cut it. They wanted to cut that line. And I was like, they wanted to change it. And I was like, but I really like it. Can we just keep it? Like, just let me do it. Just let me do it. But the part afterwards, I think I kind of stand up and go off about, like, I also know how to make chicken and potatoes and whatever it is. And
greens.
And greens. Yeah. That was me knowing that she's actually not a good cook. So I just tried to say things that were not actually something you should be proud of, but that she was proud of, which I think is cute. But I laugh because that movie was before I had taken any improv classes. And I've never been more confident as an improviser than I was on that movie.
Yeah.
Because I was so free.
Cool why? Yeah.
And Taraji was improvising the hell out of that. She, more than anybody on that set, was just always coming up with stuff all the time. So if you watch the movie, her role is a lot bigger, but that's just because she's Taraji, and she was just like, I'm going to take up as much space as you will let me have. I will take that space, because she's brilliant. And it was super fun.
It's like kind of a fun watch. I was like also a little like, what's happening here? And then I was like, but you do get some agency and you clap back, and it's like one of the best lines in the movie. So yeah, that's great.
I did like it. Yeah. And there are Oscar winners on that. I mean, there's so many great people on that show. Niecy Nash.
For sure. Okay, Keiko.
Yes. You guys do so much work for this show. I mean, I am impressed already. I am impressed with you already, but keep going.
Well, buckle up, because it might be too much. But okay. we're coming in now with Gilmore Girls stuff. So bear with us. We have a lot of affection for the show, obviously, and, have things to discuss. Just buckle up. Okay. So for 7 seasons, you played Rory's best friend Lane Kim on the Gilmore Girls and its spin-off miniseries, Gilmore Girls: A Year in the Life. The show is noted for its rapid-paced dialogue, and allegedly the scripts were like 30 pages longer than the average 1-hour series at the time. Like, was it difficult for you to adapt to that Amy Sherman Palladino style, or like did you land it right away?
No, it was difficult, and Alexis and I shot the very first scene that ever was shot in the pilot, and we were confused because we would do it and the note was, that was great. Just a little bit faster, because they're trying to time, they know how much show they have to get through and they know how long they can have each scene be. And we're like, oh, okay. So we just kept doing it because in the pilot, you don't really understand the tone of the show. You're just trying to figure it out. But yeah, as we went along, we're like, nope, and it had to be word perfect. And they did a lot of oneers. So we had a notoriously long days on set.
There are a lot of oneers on the Gilmore Girls?
That's insane.
Wow. Yeah. I don't think I knew that.
There's a lot of walk and talks. If you watch
Yeah, I
back
guess
now,
that's
there's a
true.
lot of,
Yeah.
two people on one camera, walk and talks.
Wow.
Do you feel like that set you up for success, like walking into other shows and going in for like a one-off, be like, I've got this. This is really nothing compared to the Gilmore Girls?
No, I think it was challenging, to be honest, because I think that I got into such a habit with that speed, and I had done it for 7 years, that it's a harder habit to break than you would think. And not every show is the Gilmore Girls. Actually, very few shows are the Gilmore Girls.
That's interesting.
So it took me a while to. And then the other thing that took me a while to do is that because things were so challenging on that show, we would sometimes, just cut ourselves and go back, because we know if we couldn't use that take, it was just like, I'm just going to take it back, which sometimes works. Actually, there's a show I'm working on now that I can't talk about, but we do it on that show. If you mess up the line, you know it, and they'll just take themselves back. But that's also not something that's always appropriate for different sets. And that was another thing that was difficult habit to break. Like, just not every director likes it or other actors like it when you just cut your own scene and take it back.
Fair. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you learned that the hard way?
Yes. Yes, I have learned that the hard way.
Sean Penn was like, actually, Keiko, no.
Yeah. Sean Penn's parts were like, lady, you have one line. No, he didn't. That's a lie. Yeah.
Okay, so the story goes that Lane was loosely based on writer-producer Helen Pye, including her musical taste and her Korean upbringing with a strict Seventh-day Adventist family. Did you take that and use it, or were you trying to say, thank you, I'm going to build Lane from the ground up?
Oh my God, no. Anything that Helen could tell me, I was glad to hear. But Helen is way cooler than I am. I mean, and the way Lane was written originally was way cooler than I am. I brought a lot of my anxiety and, obsessiveness to Lane. Yeah. Helen is similar to Amy, where she speaks in a very monotone voice, just smart and monotone kind of vibes. Yeah, just cool. And she's married to Dave Rogowski.
Which inspired your relationship
Yeah.
then with Adam Brody's
Yes.
Dave.
Yeah.
One of the coolest, or one of the many cool things about Lane is that she is a drummer in her band, Hep Alien, and a female drummer on Primetime. We love to see it. You apparently learned to drum for the show. Can you talk about how the drumming came to be? And also, who is your favorite explicitly female drummer?
Oh, gosh.
I have names I can help prompt if you need one, but I wanted to,
Oh, sure. This is terrible to say. I shouldn't say terrible, because I'm just about to compliment her for being my favorite drummer. But I love the White Stripes.
Yeah,
and
yes.
Meg White has this kind of attitude, and she's probably, again, not as cool as Meg White, but if I ever were to drum with a band, it wouldn't be sort of flashy, complicated jazz type riffs. It would be sort of something very four on the floor kind of vibey.
Love it.
So I would say that. And then the way that it came about is I was driving and I got a phone call, and then I pulled over and I heard that they were going to add this to my character, and I flipped out. I was like, yes, please do. And I'll take my lessons and do whatever I can to learn. And then they brought Carole King in, which was that was delightful.
Incredible.
Yeah. Melissa McCarthy, actually, I do remember when the first day Carole King was on stage, came over with 4 or 5 albums to have her sign. She was so smitten.
Yeah.
So cool. Sweet. Okay, well, so speaking of musical icons, so Sebastian Bach, frontman of the 80s musical metal band Skid Row, plays your Hep Alien bandmate Gil, and he seems like an absolutely cuckoo delight. What was he like as a scene partner?
Sebastian's great. First of all, he knows his lines. He is ready. He is ready to go. He has a lot of energy. It's great. I do admit, though, that one time I think we were playing in front of a little crowd, and he doesn't turn it off. He's not somebody that turns it off. So if he's playing in front of a crowd, even though they're extras, he's still being himself. The rock star.
The persona is
the persona is personaing.
Mm-hmm.
Keiko, there is considerable online discourse on the internet about the way the show ultimately handled Lane's story, sort of sidelining these musical dreams, and she marries Zach and has twins. What did you think when you got word that that's where your story was going?
Well, I didn't hear about it ahead of time, so I sort of found it out as we were getting the scripts. So I guess my feeling about it now is that I think that the way that Year in the Life ended did feel like still an up in the air for a lot of the characters. I think with Lane, she still felt mid-journey to me, even though she's a mom. I think Rory definitely feels mid-journey, like you're catching her in the moment. Paris as well. I think everyone feels sort of not finished. So I guess that's the way I feel about it. I think the way that's it wasn't a wrap up. It was more of a check-in. So I think maybe Lane still has some where to go or some places to grow in, hopefully.
So with that said, like that was 10 years ago.
Right, I know.
The miniseries. So do you think there's like life for this? Is there another iteration not in the works, but like, do you think there's something there? And where do you think Lane is in 2026?
I mean, I do have to be honest with you, I do have an idea, but I almost don't want to say it because then they might not make it. Because I actually do think that there is an interesting road.
You're playing it close to the vest because you like want to see it happen.
I kind of genuinely would like to see it.
Like you're ready to go back if you get that call.
I would, sure. There's probably not, I don't know who wouldn't be ready to go back. I mean, it's just a timing thing, but
I hope it works out. I think I would like it.
I even think that if there were some, I don't know, an animated movie or something like that would be kind of fun. Because I think you could play maybe a little more. I don't know if people would be able to do that, but I just think I think it would be fun to have a kind of, do you guys watch Parks and Rec?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like at the very end, it was fun. You kind of got to see them further, or even, you sort of, didn't they jump ahead in time in that?
Is that right? Did they do that at the very end of the series? Now I can't
they
remember.
did.
No, I can't either.
But also like 6 Feet Under, not that I want to see how all of us die, but something fun where we can kind of have a little...
Yeah.
A wrap up maybe of where these people are. I would be into as a fan of the show.
For sure.
Well, the Gilmore Girls has an extremely loyal fan base. And like Damian was saying, like people are very online and there's a lot of love for the show online, obviously. But Lane is still one of the only Asian American main characters on like a hit TV show, long running, iconic series. Fans have expressed over and over like how important this representation has been to them. Was that attention that you received as Keiko, the actor, ever overwhelming? And like, how do you look back on her legacy now?
I do think that I found it overwhelming at times because I didn't know how to process it. Now, so many years past the show ending, I just totally grateful. Also, it's a totally different landscape now. I mean, for Asian performers, it's beyond my wildest dreams. So I also just kind of am giddy about that. I'm giddy that I get to live, in 2026 in this entertainment landscape that is crazy in many aspects. But one shining star is that the options for Asian performers are much better, much, much better than they were in 2000.
Yeah. And you felt that. You feel like you've rode that wave in terms of seeing what it looks like for you.
Yeah, I feel really fortunate that I got to come of age in the time that I did. Also because, we're facing some other very big challenges with AI, which I don't know what that's going to look like in the next 20 years. So to be a young person, there's great things. And there's also, they're going to have their own challenges of what that means going forward. So I'm glad to have had the journey that I'm on.
Yeah.
So this is kind of getting into the weeds, but Lane's dad never
what the
appeared
hell?
on the original series. He never appeared on the original series, but then he makes an uncredited, non-speaking cameo in one episode of the revival. Did you know where Mr. Kim was in your actor brain when you were playing the show?
No, but Emily has talked about the fact that she thought that he was on some kind of mission. I mean, I guess maybe that's what I thought.
Okay, yeah, that makes
seemed
sense.
like the closest. Did she say mission or did she say no? It had to be. She didn't think it was anything musical, but that I remember. I guess I thought maybe some kind of mission, but that was the other thing about that time period because I was so nervous all of the time. Not because of anything that anybody else did, but just because I was a nervous person that I didn't dare ask anybody any questions. So we just kind of, neither did Emily. Like we never talked about it, and which seems insane to me. I would, if I was on a show now, I definitely would ask that question. I would ask that of my partner playing my, who's playing my mom. I would also ask it of the showrunner, like, what's the story there? I think it's hilarious that we didn't ask each other for 16 years. Like we never talked about it.
So you were actually part of the 2010 West Coast stage production of the famous John Okada novel, No No Boy, alongside your mom, Emily Kuroda from the Gilmore Girls. Did you guys bring that shorthand from the Gilmore Girls? Like, did it translate to the stage when you guys were there together?
Oh, that's interesting because I sort of have a schism in my mind when it comes to Emily Kuroda. It's so funny because I have the Emily Kuroda I think of as the Gilmore Girls, Mrs. Kim Emily Kuroda. And then I have a total different Emily Kuroda that is Emily Kuroda, actor, JA, local performer that has all of the same friends that I have. Like we just have like all the same friends.
That's lovely.
Yeah. So sometimes I'm in my, Emily No Boy, kind of like Ken Arasaki and Sharon Omi and all of those people. So probably no, I was probably more in my, local LA theater friend, Emily.
Right.
Zone.
I love that.
Okay, Keiko, go with us on this. So Stacey Dash was 28 when she was in Clueless. Gabrielle Carteris was 29 when she started 90210.
And I was 17. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. I don't know where you're going with this, Damian.
Stockard Channing was 33 when she was in Grease. I looked it up last night. So you were 26 when you started playing Lane. And the story goes that you lied about your age for the first 3 seasons. What was like the best part of being a fully grown adult on like a WB then CW show? And like any advice for an adult who gets cast as a teen now? Like if someone was going to get cast and they're like 26, would you be like, hey, don't do XYZ?
Well, it's funny because I did keep my age a secret from the cast, and I would suggest not necessarily keeping it a secret. That would be my suggestion.
But that was like your management was in your ear. Is that correct? If I'm remembering correctly?
A little bit, yes. I don't want to blame it all on Eric, my lovely, wonderful manager. But yeah, we love Eric. I love Eric. I'm still with Eric.
We love Eric.
All these years later. It's weird because I was sort of in the middle of both of the ages. I was in the middle of Alexis and Lauren. So you're not, but if you lie about your age, it's hard to really connect. It's a strange thing because that's a big difference.
Yeah. Those
ages, that 10 years, like where you land on that.
Yeah.
What advice do I have to people who I think it's harder now.
The internet's ready to dox everybody. And you're like, Jesus, just let the people work. It's a hard business.
Yeah, I don't think, but Stockard Channing was great though in Grease, wasn't she?
It's incredible. I love it so much. It makes no sense. I love it so much.
I know they're all old. They're all very old.
So we love this trope of like watching actors who played teens and you grow up watching them and then you see them as the adults in film and TV series, like as the authority figures, like Winona Ryder in Stranger Things, or Molly Ringwald was on Secret Lives of the American Teenager, or Luke Perry was on Riverdale. Some of your recent credits include like Mrs. Bradley on the Netflix drama 13 Reasons Why, and then you also are the protagonist's mom in this very sweet coming of age film from 2020, The Never List. Like, what is it like to be the capital A adult on a set now? And like, was that trippy at all for you to be like, I'm the mom in a teen film?
Yeah, because the part that I'm playing now also is more has more gravitas.
Yeah,
I like it because it's a challenge to me as a person, because I am trying to have more gravitas in my life and let myself feel that kind of confidence. So I totally celebrated the fact that I get to have these. It sounds so strange to say that the role is a training wheel for my life, but in a way I think it is a little bit, because it allows you to practice being a certain way because someone has written it that way. But if you do it enough, then you give yourself permission to say, oh, I can allow that space in myself also, not just, on screen, or not just in an improv stage. I can have that for myself if I like it in my life. Yeah. So I like it.
I think that's beautiful.
Okay, Keiko Agena, we've reached the part of the show. We like to call it the rapid fire. It's rapid for us. You can take whatever time you need, but we just got to get every last credit in. Okay, here we go. Keiko, you appear as the White House press secretary on one episode of Scandal, but it's a big episode. Fitz gets shot, but so do you. You get a death scene with squibs and everything. Was it fun to get shot? And did you work with the choreographer? Did you plan out your death scene? Tell us.
Yeah, I did my own stunt of getting shot. I got it on film for like 15 times. And then I said, you know what, guys, it kind of hurts a little bit, so I'm not going to do this next one. And then they put in the stunt double. And when the stunt double did it, it was so much better than me. I was like, of course, they're never going to use me falling on my ass. Why did I try to do that for 15 times? That's what I learned. Don't try to do the stunt double job. They're so much better than you.
Oh my God, that's Okay, Keiko, you have one scene in a season 9 episode of the original Beverly Hills 90210 where Vanessa Marcel is competing in an ice skating competition and faints in the bathroom after puking up her lunch. Brian Austin Green is beefing with Vanessa's other love interest, Luke Perry. You run into the bathroom to help Vanessa, but you're in a Lycra skating skirt and full ice skates. Was that physically taxing to be in ice skates all afternoon, or was it a true blue, Aaron Spelling, bang, 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 moving on kind of shoot?
Are you kidding me? Have you ever heard of Ice Palace in Hawaii? There's an Ice Palace, and that's where you go, guys. When you are dating people, you go to the Ice Palace. I am good on skates.
Okay. You looked good. You looked professional. Yeah.
Strong ankles.
Case closed.
Okay, Keiko, legendary actress Sai Chin played your grandmother in an episode of Strong Medicine. Any good Sai Chin stories for us?
I don't, but I think Sharon Omi, who is a dear friend of mine, was also in that episode. And my heart, it's so easy to act with good people. That is just you just look.
It's a great arc for you. Mm-hmm. Like, you are very good in that. And it's like, you get a lot to do in it, which was great.
Yeah. Can I tell a terrible story?
Yeah.
Please.
I don't remember who it was. So I'm not going to name names because I actually don't remember. So I'm supposed to be anorexic in the show. And when I was on there, I was, I think I was eating like a burger because it was lunch. And someone did come up to me and say, like, are you sure you want to be eating that? And I was like, oh, no.
What the fuck?
What is this? It's like the MGM lot. Jesus.
I know, because it was back in, I don't know what year that was. But I was like,
Okay.
That's an HR claim. It's in my body. It's
too late. That burger is not going to make a difference, for this show. I'm already cast, guys.
Right.
This is the cast. This is what you cast. This is
also, it was 2000, Keiko. Yeah. It was not like 1947,
Yeah, that person should have known better.
Okay, so speaking of that time period, you appear in 2 films with infamous leading ladies at a very specific time of the aughts, and that would be Jessica Simpson in Private Valentine, Blonde and Dangerous, and you allegedly appear in the Lindsay Lohan-led Labor Pains, but we could not find you.
Thank God.
What's up with that? Also, like, who was the better number one from your experience?
Oh, Jessica Simpson, I freaking adore. I had so much fun on that movie, you guys. It might be an okay movie, but it was super fun to shoot. We bonded out in freaking Louisiana with the gnats and the bugs biting us. And Jessica Simpson is short. I am a hella short woman. And 4 out of the 5 of us, I think, were the same damn height. It was a short cast. And no idea how short she was. But no, we were they would tell us, okay, you got to rise out of the swamp. Like, it was a swamp, y'all. There was no, like, I don't know what budget we had on this movie, but it was a legit swamp that we were coming out of the water on. I bonded out there. And I will give you this one tidbit about Jessica Simpson. Not only did she make pretty good shoes, because I have bought a couple of pairs of Jessica Simpson shoes, but her dog, whatever that dog's name was the most well-behaved lap dog. So somewhere in Jessica Simpson's life, she has found some emotional regularity, because that dog was calm when all hellfire was going off around that dog, and did not make a peep.
If I settle my nervous system, you're telling me my dog's anxiety might be more representative of what is going on with me.
Oops.
Well, the movie
maybe I revealed my opinion about that.
The movie is a hoot, and it like does have like a stacked cast, including Sherry O'Terry, like Amy Garcia, Jill Marie Jones, and Vivica Fox, for what it's worth.
Yes.
Wait, also labor pains?
Oh, yeah. I do not remember that. But I do think that it's funny. I do think that it's funny, though, that people don't. But when people look at your credits, they look like, oh, Gilmore Girls. And then you did this and then you did that. But also, we almost remember the labor pains of it all, which is labor pains was after Gilmore Girls. And my credit is pregnant bookstore woman. So anytime people get a little too big for their britches, you got to say, just remember, pregnant bookstore woman might be in your future, so just take it down a notch. So I'm glad.
Is the perspective.
Yes, you gotta. There's good days and okay days.
Okay, Keiko, you play another student interviewing one of the twins who has the lead in the school play in an episode of Sister Sister.
Yes.
Do you remember which sister it was?
Oh my God, no, I don't. But I know that one of them is a host on a baking competition. So
it was Tamira.
Oh,
yes,
Tamira.
It was
Okay.
Tamira. Yeah.
The baking competition love. I feel like you watch a lot of baking. I'm an expert. That's a tangent we won't go down. But
Okay.
Yes. I'm a huge fan.
I would like some recommendations, because those are things, speaking of nervous system, those are things that like calm my nervous system, is like cooking shows. So I would take those recommendations from you.
TOC? Are you aware of TOC?
No, what is TOC?
Okay, Tournament of Champions. I won't go down this because I will go off, but Tournament of Champions, because, why? Because blind judging. All cooking competition shows should have blind judging. They have blind judging. It is so fair.
Okay.
Highly recommend.
Okay, thank you so much. I love that. That's going to be my weekend watch.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay, Keiko, again, final question. It's super important.
We made it.
We heard somewhere on the internet that someone described you as a motorcycle person. And so we have a long-standing bit about us riding in a sidecar on someone's motorcycle for my birthday one year. Like, we just always wanted to happen. And Anne's always like, I don't know how to make this happen for you, Damian. Do you think you might be that person?
I might be. I don't know how long my little class stands for on my license, but if it still holds true, I will ride you around in a sidecar.
One block. I'm so scared, but I think it'll be fun.
Well, now that you've said that, I'm gonna make some dangerous moves just to add more excitement to your life.
Keiko Agena, I cannot even tell you that this has been like the joy of the month, of the year. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. This has been a treasure.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for all of your hard investigative work to make this happen. And I'm glad we found the right time, because it's divine timing, and we're all here together, which is fantastic.
Who knew that Keiko was going to take you and I on an emotional journey through our days at Upright Citizens Brigade? I did not see that one coming because that's not something that we talk about that often. But I do think she gave us a little gift there with that. And I feel like she was like, what you guys do is improv. I said, that's really generous. She is a generous, talented human. And I was like very moved by our conversation with her. She's smart and wise and really laid back. I was very taken with her.
Completely. I was not expecting that real swerve about UCB and about improv. And, it was interesting because we had recently been at the time of that recording talking about our live show and how we were feeling after it. And I felt, I will echo and tell you again how supported I felt on stage and grateful for you for keeping me present in the moment and not being beholden to like a thing that I had decided in my head. So I liked hearing that because it felt true, even if I didn't give that language. So yeah, very grateful to speak to Keiko and also really excited to ride on a motorcycle with Keiko in the next, I'm going to say next 12 months.
Yeah, we're going to make it happen. She really took our call, so to speak. You know what I mean? We brought a lot of energy to Keiko and she received it and we appreciate her.
Yeah, you couldn't hear all of it because she sort of said, I have to see if my license is like still valid. But the recognition in the eye, there was a twinkle in her eye. She was excited to have us in a sidecar.
I can't wait till I'm calling Los Angeles on the 3-hour time difference being like, I got to find this vintage motorcycle shop. Do you have a sidecar you can hook onto a motorcycle? What kind of hitch does Keiko have? I got to email Keiko.
I did.
And she'll be like, please, you guys, please.
I was Googling, like looking into like renting a motorcycle. And then I was like, can you have 2 sidecars on a motorcycle?
One on either side.
And it said no. And it said it's certainly not in New York. And
that's great. We're going to do it in LA.
And then, yeah, exactly. Folks, do you like what we're doing here? We hope so. If so, please consider supporting us over at the Patreon. You can find the link in the description. It's patreon.com/YouMightKnowHerFrom. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at YouMightKnowHerFrom. And you can find us there too if you want to see what we're doing in our personal lives. It's mostly just doing the podcast, but we'd love to have you support us over on Patreon and also on Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah, because this show is created by Duck You Dragon. That's me and Damian. It's independently produced, and we put this together for the love of the game, folks. We love actresses, and we hope that you do too. So if you have a tidbit of a moment, please consider leaving us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcast. It helps other people find us doing what we do.
Also, we want to shout out Gang for all of that music you hear underscoring each and every episode of You Might Know Her From. Speaking of girl bands, Gang is 3/4 women. Their drummer is not a woman, unfortunately, but shout out to Tim. Shout out to Gang. They're from Philly. We love Gang. You can stream Gang wherever you listen to your music. And also special shout out to our editor, Adam Brown. Adam, thank you for making this season of You Might Know Her From such an enjoyable, easy breezy one and with such silky smooth, lovely editing.
If you need to see that clip of Keiko in cornrows, razzing Taraji P. Henson right back. Guess what? It's going to be in the show notes. That's where I put every single thing that we talk about in each and every episode beneath the episode description. I spend a lot of time on it, so please dig in.
I was obsessed with Keiko giving us all of the intel of what it was like working on a Michael Bay big movie and how Frances McDormand, like clearly she was like, hello, you are so lucky that I'm in this like, movie. So Michael Bay, come and walk and talk with me while I give you the business. But one of my favorite parts of the interview is just when you are laughing about it and Keiko's like, I don't know if you're laughing sarcastically or not. It was not sarcastic, Keiko. It was just like we all know what the movie is and was, and you and Frances were there elevating the work.
Totally.
So yes, was it sarcastic? Maybe a little, but
it was laughing at the Michael Bay of it all because he is wild. He is explosions. He is big, like mirrored shots of people in buildings exploding and tumbling to the, like Michael Bay is action. And the idea.
What does he look like?
I you know what? I don't know. Does he have like short hair? Does he wear like a baseball hat like Steven Spielberg? I think he has short hair and like dresses like a button up and slacks, not jeans. That's my guess. Please reveal to me. Does he have curly hair, wavy hair? No, that's Joel Schumacher.
He is giving more.
Is Joel Schumacher dead?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's giving more like
Rennie Harlan. Oh,
he kind of looks like Kirstie Alley's husband of many years, Parker.
Oh,
not
Fisher Stevens?
No, she was not married to him.
Parker Stevens.
Yes,
there we go. I always confuse Parker Stevens and Fisher Stevens.
But Parker is like a blonde hottie and Fisher is not.
He's sort of like somewhere between a Modine and
he's like
Chris Carter from the X-Files.
He's like more
I don't know what
handsome than I was expecting. I was expecting him to have more of like a Bono look of like tinted glasses and like a cap.
The long hair here, we're going to put it in the show notes, this picture of Michael Bay that Damien pulled up for me. The hair sweep is similar to our current president's. It's just longer. Do you know what I mean? Like the sweep of the hair is similar.
This article also is
breaking news on Michael Bay.
It's just a Secret Service airing recruitment ad from Hollywood director Michael Bay during football.
Oh good.
Boy.
He created a Secret Service ad for the Super Bowl.
So Keiko, it was sarcastic.